Why not? His eyes locked onto hers, becoming darker as he demanded an answer. You are a princess and I am a prince. We are perfect for each other. We are most certainly not. How so? His expression remained cold. Because you are a very pompous, arrogant, self-centered, spoiled brat of a man. And if that were not enough, we only met yesterday. She was appalled that he would ask her for something so drastic so soon. You will not disgrace me yet again. He did not shout, as he didn't want to be heard by the guests on the other side of the doors. He grabbed Bailey by the arm, as he did the day before. Let go of me. Her words were ignored as she was dragged into his arms and into a harsh and unsettling kiss. His lips smashed against hers. She broke away, staring into his eyes, startled and speechless. Her eyes were wide, but she was soon glaring at the man who would violate her so. Forgive me, princess, but since the moment I first saw you, I've wanted you as my queen. You've proven to me that you are more than worthy of ruling by my side in my kingdom. Well, I appreciate your offer. I have my own realm to worry about. She backed away from him, leaning over the stone railing of the balcony. What do you mean? What she said raised concern. Was her realm on the brink of war? Was King Victor ill? He seemed his normal drunken self not a few moments before. You see, my sister is married, as I'm sure you know. She's the topic of almost every rumor between our two kingdoms. That leaves only me to take the throne if something were to happen to Father. Oh, yes, I knew that. But if you were to marry me, our two kings would join, and war between our realms would be impossible. I realize that, but I do not love you. Her eyes seemed colder than usual. Yes, who could love an arrogant, spoiled brat, as you put it? He let his hands fall to his sides, fists balled. But how many marriages began with a couple outright hating each other and ending with the couple living happily together? Several, I suppose, but it is not because you're so spoiled that I don't love you. I just don't have these types of feelings for you. She looked over her shoulders to the darkening hills. And just because those marriages eventually worked out doesn't mean ours would. You're right, princess, but we'd never know unless we tried. He frowned deeply as he looked at her. You're free to go if you wish. I'll return to the ball in a moment. She nodded and then walked toward the door. As I've said, it's not because you're spoiled that I don't love you. I just do not possess those feelings for anyone at the moment. She stopped for a moment, turning back to face him once more. My name is Bailey, not Princess. With that, she walked through the glass doors and back to the now thinning crowd of guests. The ball had died down with the late hour as guests headed back to their own homes and palaces. Only a few lesser-known political figures still remained, trying to impress her now beyond drunken father and a few other dignitaries. She walked quietly past them and left the ballroom, returning to her own bedroom. She undressed and lay in her bed, contemplating as she was unable to sleep. In all seriousness, I must find a husband before something does happen to Father. But I cannot tolerate arrogance or his temper. She sighed softly, closing her eyes for a moment. But maybe he could work on not shouting every time he's angered. Her thoughts drifted as she began to doze off. This had been an interesting 2 days. Meanwhile, the prince had returned to his own bedroom and sat on the couch, thinking aloud. How could she love me? I'll admit I'm arrogant and spoiled, but I'm not a brat. He looked to his reflection in the full-length mirror. Am I? He rose from his seat and walked to the window. The full orange moon was rising against the black night sky. But then again, marriage is not always about love. Mother and father had an arranged marriage, and father said mother hated him for a very long time before she got used to the idea. A crooked smile across his face. That's it. I'll ask King Victor for his daughter's hand. I'm sure I can persuade the old fool to agree. He left the room, closing the heavy double door behind him, and made his way to King Victor's quarters. But as he approached, the door opened in the servant room. Carrying her shoes, trying to be as quiet as possible. The prince ducked around the corner as the girl looked around, making her hasty way down the hall. He groaned, disgusted at the thought of what probably literally lay behind Victor's door. Perhaps tomorrow, then. He had no desire to see a drunken, naked king. He returned to his bedroom, frustrated, and dressed for bed. He climbed under the blankets and sheets and eventually fell asleep. Hope the old fool had a good time with my servant, he huffed before finally falling asleep.